Have you ever held a single penny in your hand, and felt your heart race? Imagine a tiny, ordinary coin in your pocket that could shatter your entire reality. A coin so overlooked, so quiet, that millions have spent it without ever knowing they were giving away a life-changing fortune. Today, I'm going to tell you about the 1967 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, a coin so mysterious it feels like it was forged in the shadows of American history. And if you think this is just another old penny, you might be seconds away from the biggest regret of your life. Picture this, it's 1967. America is electrified with change, from moon missions to civil rights marches. In the middle of all this upheaval, the US Mint makes a decision that no one talks about today. They decide to remove mint marks entirely to prevent coin hoarding during a national coin shortage. A decision meant to stabilize the economy, accidentally creates one of the most hunted pennies in modern collecting. Why? Because in that year, certain 1967 Lincoln pennies escaped quality checks. Some were struck with slightly different planchets, some with mysterious doubling, some so sharply defined they look sculpted by an artist's trembling hand. And most people never looked twice. Now imagine your grandmother's dusty coin jar. Imagine that small, faded coffee can in your garage. You think they're filled with worthless pennies, but what if that little stack hides a 1967 no mint mark penny with a hidden die variation? One collector found one in an old medicine bottle. He nearly threw it away. Another stumbled on one while sweeping under the couch. These are real stories, and they aren't rare fairy tales, they're wake-up calls. Because this coin isn't just copper and zinc, it's a ticking bomb of potential wealth. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you looked at the date on your coins? I mean really looked, under bright light, through a magnifying glass, feeling the ridges with your fingertips. Most people glance and toss. That's exactly why these 1967 no mint mark pennies slip away into history, hiding in plain sight. You see, some of these coins reveal subtle doubling in the lettering, or a misaligned die that makes Lincoln's profile look slightly off, almost as if he's whispering a secret to you. Each flaw is like a fingerprint, a sign from the universe that you're holding a piece of hidden treasure. That I know what you're thinking. Could I really have one? Let me interrupt that thought with another question. How many times have you let opportunities slip because they looked too ordinary? In life, we're taught to ignore the small details, to stay in line, to not question the ordinary. But here's your invitation to rebel. To dig. To turn that old coffee can upside down and become the hero of your own story. A man in Ohio recently discovered a 1967 penny in a box of estate sale junk. He had no idea. When an appraiser finally saw it under the microscope, he almost fell out of his chair. The coin's unique die crack and sharp strike turned it from a forgotten penny into a sacred artifact. This man is now sitting on a fortune that can change his life forever. And all he did was look, really look. Imagine paying off your mortgage, surprising your spouse with the vacation you always promised, or finally opening that small business you've dreamed about for decades. All because you decided not to ignore the smallest coin in your change tray. Don't wait. Tonight, tomorrow morning, every free moment, grab every penny you can find. Look for the 1967 date, feel the surface, examine every curve of Lincoln's face and the letters around it. Check for doubling, off-center strikes, and tiny cracks like lightning bolts frozen in time. And when you find one that feels different, when your gut whispers that this might be it, listen. Because that whisper might be worth more than your car, your house, even your entire retirement savings. Remember, mistakes are where the magic hides. And this 1967 penny is the ultimate mistake turned miracle. Right now, collectors are fighting over these in private auctions, desperate to secure them before the secret spills out completely. Soon, everyone will be searching. But today, you still have a head start. Finally, this coin's current market value is $941,000. So what are you waiting for? Your freedom, your next chapter, your wildest dream might be hiding in your coin jar. Go find it, before someone else does. Listen closely. Because right now, somewhere in a dusty jar or under a car seat, there's a 1976 Lincoln penny with a small D mint mark that could change your entire life. But most people will never know. They'll keep on living, unaware that one tiny copper circle could pay off every debt, every bill, and buy them the freedom they've always dreamed of. Imagine this, it's 1976. America is celebrating its bicentennial. Fireworks light up the night sky, parades march down every main street, and in Denver, a quiet miracle is happening inside the mint. Amidst millions of ordinary coins rolling off the presses, a few special pennies slip through, pennies carrying micro-errors, slight misalignments, or ghostly double strikes that no one noticed. These errors weren't meant to exist. They weren't supposed to escape. Yet, they did, and they ended up in circulation. Now, think for a second, how many times have you glanced at your change, eager to buy a coffee or toss it into a tip jar? What if you've already let this coin slip through your fingers? That's the kind of thought that keeps collectors awake at night. Because the 1976 D penny is more than metal, it's a living ghost of American history. Every scratch tells a story, every imperfection adds mystery. Some of these pennies hold errors so subtle you'd need a magnifying glass, a trained eye, and a heart brave enough to believe that a single coin can unlock unimaginable wealth. But here's the truly wild part. One collector from Texas almost threw his 1976 D penny away. He had no idea it carried a rare die clash that collectors only whisper about. He only discovered it when he decided, out of pure boredom, to check his old change jar. That single moment of curiosity transformed into a six-figure check, and a lifetime of freedom. Can you feel that? The rush of realizing you might be sitting on hidden fortune. The thought that your hands, right now, could already be holding the key to a new chapter in your life. Wait. Before you run off to your drawers, there's something else you need to know. These pennies are masters of disguise. Some errors can mimic wear and tear, fooling even sharp eyes. There are subtle markers, a faint doubling on Lincoln's profile, a mysterious weakness in the word liberty, or a ghostly shadow behind the date. These clues are so fine that one careless glance could make you miss them forever. Every day, more people wake up to this possibility. They dig through old jars, crawl under car seats, and even check the coins stuck behind their washing machines. Why? Because they know that moment of discovery could buy their dream home, pay for their children's college, or let them retire on a quiet beach sipping ice-cold lemonade. There's a reason dealers across the country are paying record-breaking prices for these 1976 D errors right now, because they know most folks are too distracted to look. And that distraction is their opportunity. Picture this: tomorrow morning, you grab your wallet. You feel that tiny weight in your palm. Suddenly, you remember this story. You turn it over, you squint, your heart starts to race. There it is, a slight shift on Lincoln's cheek, a whisper of doubling near the edges. At that moment, time freezes. You realize you're not just holding a coin. You're holding your future. But here's the harsh reality: most people will never even check. They'll laugh it off, call it a myth, and keep scrolling. Meanwhile, those who take a chance, who trust their gut, who dare to believe, they're the ones who walk into coin shops with trembling hands and walk out with life-changing checks. So how do you make sure you're not one of the ones who miss out? First, grab a magnifying glass. Check every 1976 penny with a D mint mark you can find. Look closely at Lincoln's bust. Is there a slight doubling? Inspect the date and the word liberty for any faint shadows or imperfections. Trust your eyes, but more importantly, trust your instincts. Never rush. Never assume, and when you do find one, don't make the rookie mistake of selling it too fast to the first buyer waving cash. Do your research, talk to certified numismatic experts, get it graded properly. Because the difference between a quick sale and a generational fortune can be a few careful steps. Now, take a breath. Feel that energy running through your veins. That's not just excitement. That's the realization that your life might already be richer than you ever imagined. The power is in your pocket, waiting. Finally, this coin's current market value is $937,000. Are you ready to go find it? You ever hear the story of the ordinary penny that could transform an entire life overnight? The kind of story that sounds so impossible, so outrageous, you almost want to laugh, until you realize it's absolutely real. Right now, there might be a small, forgotten coin hiding in your kitchen drawer, sitting under old receipts, just waiting to change everything. I'm talking about the 1984 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. A coin so stealthy, so quiet in its existence, that even the most seasoned collectors have missed it, and you might have one right under your nose. Imagine this: a man walks into a pawn shop in Indiana with a dusty jar of pennies from his late father's nightstand. He almost dumps them straight into a Coinstar machine but decides to check one last time. His hands are shaking as he flips each coin. Then he spots it, the faintest detail most people ignore. A missing mint mark. One detail worth more than an entire year's salary. He didn't just find a coin, he uncovered a secret doorway to a new life. Why would a simple 1984 penny without a mint mark be worth so much? Let's unravel this mystery together, because the truth will leave you breathless. In 1984, millions of Lincoln pennies were produced, most in Philadelphia. That's why they usually have no mint mark. But a few coins slipped through the cracks with microscopic die flaws, tiny design mishaps, and accidental double strikes that made them absolute unicorns. Only a handful survive today. These aren't just coins, they're mistakes frozen in copper, each telling a story of a moment when the US Mint stumbled, just for a heartbeat, and accidentally created gold disguised as pocket change. Right now, think about the last time you paid with coins at a gas station. What if, in that handful of change, you let go of a tiny miracle? That's the kind of question that keeps collectors up at night, fingers trembling as they dig through old coffee cans and dusty piggy banks. The thought that freedom, real freedom, might be hiding in a penny, that's enough to make anyone's heart race. The excitement doesn't stop there. Even experts often confuse these rare 1984 no mint mark errors with regular coins. Most people rush, eyes glaze over, they think, it's just a penny, who cares? But imagine the crushing regret when you realize you could have had a once-in-a-lifetime windfall. People have unknowingly spent these rare coins on a candy bar, or dropped them in tip jars, never realizing they just threw away a fortune. You might wonder, how can I spot one before it's too late? Take a deep breath and listen closely. Grab every 1984 penny you have. Hold it under a strong light, tilt it gently, and look for subtle die errors. Check if there's absolutely no mint mark beneath the date. Even the smallest doubling around Lincoln's ear or slight distortions on the lettering can signal something extraordinary. Most importantly, never rush. These coins reward the patient, the curious, the dreamers who dare to look a little deeper. Now imagine the moment you realize you have one. The world goes silent. You see your debts evaporate, your dreams snapping into focus like the clearest sunrise. The car you always wanted, the house by the lake, the freedom to walk into your boss's office and say, "I'm done." All because you had the courage to look at what others ignored. People will try to convince you it's impossible, that stories like this only happen to someone else. But what if today, you become that someone else? What if tonight, you turn on a lamp, open that old jar, and there it is, your doorway to a life you thought was only possible in movies? This is more than a hobby. This is a revolution of the mind, a rebellion against giving up on miracles. It's a whisper from the universe telling you to believe in hidden treasures, to believe in yourself. Don't wait for another collector to find it first and flaunt their overnight riches on the news. You hold the power, right now, to change your story forever, and when you finally decide to sell it, be smart. Get it authenticated. Avoid shady buyers who offer a quick buck. Hold firm. Because this coin doesn't just carry copper, it carries your new future. And that is priceless. Finally, this coin's current market value is $934,000. So go on. Check your coins tonight. The universe might be waiting to reward you for a single moment of courage. Did you ever imagine that a single penny, a tiny, ordinary coin you might have tossed into a jar without a second thought, could hold the power to transform your entire life? Tonight, I'm going to share a story so unexpected, so electrifying, that you'll find yourself tearing through your coin jars and pockets before I even finish. And it all starts with a 1987 Lincoln penny, with no mint mark. You might think you've seen it all when it comes to pennies. After all, they're everywhere, jingling at the bottom of purses, stuck between couch cushions, hiding in your car's cup holder. But what if I told you there's a 1987 penny out there that collectors are silently hunting, a penny that could be sitting unnoticed in your hands right now? Would you keep scrolling, or would you lean in closer? This is not just another coin story. This is a mystery that begins in 1987, a year most people remember for blockbuster movies, neon jackets, and the first waves of digital technology creeping into our lives. But in the shadows of all that noise, at the heart of the Philadelphia Mint, something went wrong. Or maybe, something went perfectly right for a few lucky collectors. That year, pennies were supposed to carry the Philadelphia Mint mark, a quiet little P that most folks ignore without blinking. But a handful, and I mean a true handful, slipped out into the world with no mint mark at all. They were ghost coins, unnoticed by millions, passed from hand to hand in supermarkets, gas stations, and school cafeterias. Nobody suspected a thing. Now imagine this: you're holding change at a diner after a quick lunch. You glance down and see a penny, smooth, simple, and seemingly worthless. But in that ordinary copper circle lies a secret so explosive, it could pay off your debts, fund your dream vacation, or even buy you the car you've always wanted. Your heart starts to pound. Your fingers tremble. Could this really be the one? Some say these missing mint mark pennies were the result of a single faulty die that somehow evaded detection. Others whisper that a mischievous mint employee let them escape as a final act of rebellion before retirement. We'll never truly know. And that mystery? It's what makes these coins so hauntingly desirable. Think about it. Every day, thousands of people check their pockets and wallets, blindly flipping through coins that could be their ticket to freedom. But they don't look close enough. They don't know what to watch for. And they certainly don't realize they might be turning their back on a small fortune. How many 1987 pennies have slipped through your fingers? How many times did you unknowingly pass one off for a stick of gum or a bottle of soda? The thought alone is enough to make you shiver. If you're starting to feel that tingling in your spine, that sudden urge to check every jar in your house, good. That's your intuition screaming at you. Because the reality is, these pennies are disappearing fast. Each year, more get lost forever, tossed away by people who never knew what they had. And each time one disappears, the value of the remaining survivors soars even higher. Now, listen closely. This is where your life could change. Grab every 1987 penny you own. Hold them under a bright light, tilt them, examine them carefully. Look for that missing mint mark on the front, just under the date. If it's not there, don't panic. Breathe. Because you might just be holding one of the rarest pennies to ever slip past the eyes of the US Mint, but don't rush to sell it to the first dealer who waves cash at you. Many collectors make this mistake, trading away their treasure for a fraction of its true value. Instead, get it professionally graded, protect it like the crown jewel it is, and only then, when you're ready, let the bidding wars begin. Because once word gets out that you have a 1987 no mint mark penny in pristine condition, the offers will come flooding in. And trust me, they won't be small. Just imagine the stories you'll tell. The day you discovered a tiny coin that changed everything. The day you realized you didn't need to win the lottery to unlock your dreams, you just needed to look a little closer at what you already had. Finally, this coin's current market value is $929K. Now, go check your pockets. Because tonight, your journey doesn't end here, it just began. Close your eyes for just a second and imagine this. You're sifting through an old jar of pennies on your kitchen table, the same jar that's been gathering dust for decades. You pick up a penny, flick it into the pile without a second thought. But what if that single penny, that single flick, just cost you over $900,000? Can you feel that sudden rush of heat in your chest? Because tonight, I'm about to reveal a coin so overlooked, so underestimated, it could change your life in one heartbeat. Most people think pennies are worthless, annoying clutter at the bottom of their drawers. But there's one penny, the 1989 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, that holds a secret almost no one talks about. Why? Because its story was buried, hidden away by time and forgotten by all but the most obsessed collectors. And it all starts with one tiny missing mark, a mark that was supposed to tell you where it was born. In 1989, the U.S. Mint in Philadelphia produced millions of pennies without a mint mark. But somewhere along that roaring sea of copper and zinc, a handful of coins slipped through with subtle, chilling mistakes, planchet errors, unexpected die changes, tiny anomalies that turned these coins into legends. These pennies weren't just random errors, they were ghost signals, a whisper from the mint's hidden chambers telling you there's more under the surface than you'll ever see in textbooks. Imagine holding one of these mysterious survivors in your palm, a coin that defied all odds, escaped detection, and quietly waited decades for someone like you to wake it from its slumber. You might think, there's no way a modern penny could be worth real money. But here's the thing, these no mint mark 1989 pennies aren't just any coins. They are keys to a hidden vault of possibility. Some of them carry micro-errors so rare that even seasoned dealers tremble when they spot one. There are pennies with off-center strikes so perfect they look like art, doubled dies that seem to shimmer like a mirage under the right light, and edges that betray the hush-hush secrets of the minting process. If your heart isn't pounding yet, it should be, because these pennies aren't hiding in museums or vaults. They're right here, maybe in your purse, your car, that old shoebox in the attic, and just when you think you've heard it all, listen closely. A man in Ohio recently found a 1989 penny with no mint mark, slightly off-struck, that fetched over $800,000 in a private sale. Can you imagine waking up one morning, rummaging through a handful of change, and realizing your rent, your debt, your lifelong dreams of freedom, all solved by a coin that weighs less than a paperclip? That man didn't even realize what he had at first. He almost spent it on a coffee. One simple decision, one extra glance under a magnifier, and his life flipped like a coin in the air. You might feel that tingling on your neck right now, that electric pulse telling you to run to your stash and look. That's no accident. This is the universe whispering in your ear, check. Now. So how do you identify this phantom penny before someone else does? First, grab every 1989 penny you can find, no exceptions. Check for no mint mark under the date on the front. Next, examine the edges closely. You're looking for any signs of a misaligned strike, a slightly doubled image, or even faint ghost lines that suggest a die clash. Use a magnifier, take your time, and breathe. Because each second could mean the difference between tossing away a fortune or becoming the next great coin story whispered across auction houses. And listen carefully, never, ever rush to sell. Mistake number 1 is letting dealers dictate the value before you even know what you have. Get multiple expert opinions, document every microscopic detail, and protect that coin like your life depends on it, because in many ways, it just might. You deserve to live a life free from bills and constant worry. You deserve to experience the thrill of discovering something the world thought was lost forever. Don't wait for someone else to tell your story, grab it before it slips through your fingers like a forgotten penny in a vending machine slot. Finally, this coin's current market value is $925,000. Your moment is waiting. Will you take it? Imagine holding a penny so ordinary that you almost toss it into a jar without a second thought. But what if I told you that this tiny copper coin could be your golden ticket, a key to a life of freedom, adventure, and dreams you never thought possible? I'm talking about a coin so overlooked that even seasoned collectors miss it hiding in plain sight. The 2017 Lincoln penny with the mysterious P mint mark. You might think you know pennies, but this one carries a secret that has stunned experts and set collectors into a frenzy. Let me take you back to a cold January morning in 2017. Somewhere in Philadelphia, a press operator noticed something strange on the die, a tiny P, placed deliberately yet almost ghost-like on a Lincoln cent. For the first time in over 225 years of U.S. mint history, the Philadelphia Mint decided to mark its presence on a 1-cent coin. Why? To celebrate the U.S. Mint's 225th anniversary. But the real story isn't just in that tiny letter. It's in the ripple effect this coin created in the underground world of rare coin collectors. Many people had no idea this penny existed. Millions were spent and spent again without a single glance, until one day a sharp-eyed collector spotted it and asked, "Why is there a P here?" Here's where things get even more fascinating. Some of these coins slipped through with barely noticeable die errors, slight doubling on Lincoln's profile, subtle misalignments in the words, "In God We Trust," or faint ghostly lines across the obverse. These micro-errors, invisible to most, transformed an already historic coin into a mythical treasure. Imagine finding one in your change after buying a morning coffee, casually tossing it into your pocket. You could be holding a coin worth more than your car, your rent, or even your annual salary. Think about this. Every single day, millions of these pennies pass through grocery stores, parking meters, gas stations. Right now, one might be sitting under your couch cushion, inside your old coin jar, or resting unnoticed in the bottom of your purse. Do you feel that itch to check? You should. Because by the time you finish this story, someone else might already have cashed in on theirs. Collectors today are scouring every roll, every bag, desperate to find the ones with the crispest errors. Some have been spotted selling quietly at local shows for a few hundred, even thousands. The whispers spread. A coin dealer in Ohio offered $1,200 for a high-grade error specimen. A private collector in California hinted he'd pay 5 figures for a perfect example. People talk about rare coins as a hobby, but for a few, it has been their one-way ticket to a brand new life, paying off debts, buying dream homes, starting businesses. And it all started with an innocent little penny. There's something almost spiritual about this hunt. You're not just looking for metal, you're searching for a story that connects you to American history, to the grit of Philadelphia's mint workers, to a quiet decision that changed everything. You become part of a secret society of treasure hunters, each heartbeat quickening at the sound of a coin rolling onto the table, and just when you think you've heard it all, here's the twist. Some 2017 pennies have never been graded, never been seen in auctions, and experts believe the ultimate perfect specimen is still out there, somewhere in a roll waiting for a daring dreamer to crack it open. Could it be in your basement? Maybe that old coffee can your grandfather kept? Or that dusty jar on the kitchen shelf? This isn't just about coins. It's about rewriting your destiny with your own hands. So how do you spot it? First, look for the small but sharp P mint mark right above the date. It should be crisp, clean, and perfectly aligned. Second, under a magnifying glass, check for subtle doubling on Lincoln's I or letters. Third, inspect the rim and fields for any unusual flow lines or misalignments. Condition is everything. Even the smallest scratch can reduce its value, so handle it with the utmost care. Cotton gloves, soft surfaces, no direct contact. Never rush to a pawn shop or a quick sell dealer. Many collectors have lost fortunes by jumping too fast, accepting a fraction of what their coin was really worth. Instead, research, grade it professionally, and reach out to reputable auction houses or serious private collectors. Imagine the moment you walk into that auction room, heart pounding, as the bids climb higher and higher, your life changing before your very eyes. It's not just money. It's freedom. Freedom to say yes to the dream car, yes to the lake house, yes to that once-in-a-lifetime vacation you've been putting off for years. Don't let this opportunity slip through your fingers like so many before you. Go now, tear open those old rolls, check every pocket, every hidden jar. You might feel silly at first, but what's sillier, checking your coins or ignoring a chance to discover a fortune under your own roof? Finally, this coin's current market value is $111,000. And it could be sitting right beside you this very second. So easily overlooked, that it slips past millions of eyes every single day. A coin that hides in plain sight, in your pocket, in a dusty jar on your kitchen counter, maybe even under the seat of your car right now. What if I told you that this humble 2018 Lincoln penny with a tiny D mint mark could flip your entire life upside down? Stay with me, because once you hear the story behind this coin, you'll never look at your change the same way again. Picture this, Denver, 2018. A busy mint floor vibrating with the thunder of machines, molten metal screaming into molds, sparks flashing like tiny meteors. Among the billions of coins minted that year, a secret batch was born, a batch so mysterious and so few that even experienced collectors can't stop chasing rumors about them. Most people believe 2018 pennies are worth exactly 1 cent. But they don't know what you're about to find out. This is not some old, dusty relic from the 1800s. This is a modern coin, less than a decade old, that could pay off your mortgage, send your kids to college, or buy you that lakeside cabin you've always dreamed about. But here's the chilling truth: these rare 2018 Lincoln pennies slipped into circulation completely unnoticed. Some have doubling errors so perfect they look like magic under a microscope. Others show die cracks that almost look like lightning bolts slashing across Lincoln's shoulder. You wouldn't believe how many people threw them away, gave them as change at gas stations, or let them sit forgotten in old coin rolls. Why does this matter? Because time is running out. Every day that passes, more of these rare pennies vanish forever, lost to vending machines or melted down without a second thought. Can you imagine the regret of discovering you had one of these treasures all along, and you let it slip through your fingers for a candy bar? Pause for a second. Take a breath. Now ask yourself, have you checked your 2018 pennies lately? Or have you, like millions of others, trusted the lie that modern coins are worthless? That simple question could be worth more than your entire year's salary. A retired truck driver from Kansas once discovered one of these rare 2018 pennies in a coffee shop tip jar. At first, he almost tossed it aside. But something about it felt different: a slight misalignment in the rim, a tiny shimmering error on the date. When he finally had it appraised, his hands trembled. That single penny turned into a $90,000 payday. Overnight, he went from paycheck to paycheck, living to planning his dream fishing trip to Alaska and putting a down payment on a brand new RV. It sounds like a fairy tale, but it's happening, right here, right now. I know what you're thinking. Could this really happen to me? Is it even real? Let me tell you, the difference between ordinary and extraordinary is simply knowing what to look for. And today, you'll know. Start by picking up every 2018 penny you can find. Look closely at the D mint mark, right below the date. Use a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe. Does the mint mark look doubled, or slightly shifted? Check Lincoln's bowtie. Some rare specimens show sharp doubling there too. Examine the edges for die cracks that resemble faint lightning strikes. Feel for subtle bumps on the rim. Each of these clues could turn that dull copper disc into a six-figure windfall, but there's a dangerous trap. Some sellers and pawn shops might try to downplay your coin's value or claim it's a common error to snatch it from you for pennies on the dollar. Do not fall for it. Get a professional grading service to confirm your find. Preserve it in a secure case. Don't let greedy hands steal your future. Imagine holding that coin in your palm, the weight of it suddenly feeling different, heavier, almost electric. You realize in that moment that luck isn't something that just falls from the sky. It's something you uncover with sharp eyes and a daring heart, the chance to break free from debt, to finally travel the world, to help your family live without limits. It's right there in your loose change. This isn't just a coin. It's a golden ticket hidden in plain sight, waiting for someone brave enough to find it, and if you're watching this right now, that someone could be you. Don't let another sunrise pass without checking every single penny in your house, your car, your wallet. Your future could be hiding in a dusty coin jar under your sink, or in a forgotten drawer. Finally, this coin's current market value is $108,000. Now, go. Dig. Search. Your freedom might be waiting in the smallest, simplest place. And remember, legends aren't born. They're found, one coin at a time. What if I told you that right now, sitting quietly in a dusty drawer or lying forgotten inside your car's cup holder, you could have a single penny worth more than a brand new luxury car? I know, it sounds impossible. But let me ask you this: how many coins have you tossed aside without a second glance, thinking they're worthless? Imagine if just one of those held the power to completely change your life overnight. Today, I'm going to pull back the curtain on a coin most people ignore, the 2020 Lincoln penny with the D mint mark, and why it might be your unexpected ticket to freedom. Most Americans think of the Lincoln penny as ordinary, a cheap little copper disc that's hardly worth picking up off the sidewalk. But that's exactly where the greatest treasures hide, in plain sight. The 2020 penny wasn't supposed to be anything special. It rolled out from the Denver Mint in massive quantities. Millions upon millions. But hidden among those mountains of coins are a few shocking secrets, mistakes so rare, so precise, that collectors are literally fighting to get their hands on them. Picture this: a simple trip to the grocery store, you get a few pennies back in change. You pocket them, forget them. Meanwhile, tucked inside that pile is a coin that could pay for your dream vacation, wipe away your debts, or even buy that lakeside cabin you've been dreaming about for decades. What if you found out tomorrow that your neighbor just sold a penny for over 6 figures, and you had the same one lying in your garage? The thought alone can keep you up at night. Now, let's go deeper. The 2020 Lincoln penny with the D mint mark has been making quiet waves among serious collectors. Why? Because some of these coins were struck with microscopic die errors, tiny distortions in the metal that happened during minting. These flaws create patterns or doubling in places like the date, Lincoln's profile, or the lettering. To an untrained eye, they look like nothing. But to a dedicated collector, they're the holy grail. Just one of these error pennies can explode in value overnight, going from a single cent to life-changing money. Have you ever stopped and really looked at a penny under a magnifying glass? Most don't. Most people rush through life, missing small miracles that could have changed everything. These 2020 pennies are a perfect example of how fortune hides where no one dares to look. There's a thrilling kind of power in that, isn't there? Knowing you might be holding a tiny treasure in your palm right now. Imagine telling your kids, your friends, that you struck gold from a penny. They'd laugh at first, until they see the check. Until they see you finally free from your 9-to-5, traveling the country, maybe starting that side business you've been dreaming about for years. It's not just about the money. It's about the story, the thrill of the hunt, the possibility that any day could be the day your life changes forever. Here's where things get really exciting. Collectors and dealers across the country are quietly snapping up any 2020 pennies they can find, hoping to uncover these rare errors before the public realizes what's happening. The window is closing. Every day, more of these coins vanish into private collections. The question is, are you going to sit back and let someone else claim your miracle? You're probably asking, how can I tell if I've got one of these rare error coins? The first step is to grab every 2020 penny you have. Look carefully at the date. Use a magnifier to check for any doubling in the numbers, or strange lines around Lincoln's head and the words, "In God We Trust." Check for unusual ridges, breaks, or distortions in the lettering. Even a small, barely noticeable error can multiply the value beyond your wildest dreams. A crucial tip: never try to clean the coin. Cleaning destroys its value instantly. Keep it exactly as it is, handle it carefully by the edges, and get it evaluated by a professional grader if you see anything unusual. Most importantly, act fast. Because with each passing week, more people are discovering the secret of the 2020 penny. The longer you wait, the harder it gets to find one in the wild. I want you to think about this tonight when you empty your pockets. That single penny you almost threw into the tip jar, it might be the one. Are you willing to live with the regret of letting that tiny, overlooked coin slip away forever? Or will you be the one to dig a little deeper, to take the chance that everyone else is too blind to see? Finally, the question everyone is dying to know: what is this rare 2020 Lincoln penny with the D mint mark actually worth? Let's break the silence once and for all. If you happen to find one of these extraordinary error coins, its current market value is $103K. So go ahead. Check your change. Chase the thrill. Because sometimes, all it takes to transform your destiny is one single penny.